And what art showcase would be complete without a gallery? So let's get to it. We are going to go to our gallery page. Remember, we have 4 pages now. So our gallery page, I want to click right here and hit return once, and that's where I'm going to put my gallery, insert my gallery. So I'm going to go up under insert and down here to widget and widgets. You probably won't have anything here. I have something here because I've used widgets before, and as you collect them, they populate this area. But we're going to go, or you're going to go, right to the Widget Browser. You will end up not in My Widgets because you don't have any yet, but probably out at the Adobe Exchange. It's going to ask you for your Adobe name and ID, which you should already have an Adobe account set up. And if you don't, just go ahead and I think you can make one right through this program. So out here we have all these different widgets. They do all kinds of crazy fun stuff. I do invite you to explore each and every one of them in your leisure time. But for right now, what we're looking for is called a Lightbox. And if you need to search, there's not a ton of these in here. But if you did need to search for something, you could type Lightbox up here. Here we go. This is the one that we're looking for. It's called the Clearbox Lightbox. And we're just going to click on it. And I think it will drop it into your, oh no, down at the bottom you should see down here it should say add to my widgets. And so if you click on that, it will add it to your widgets, and then you will go to your widgets, which you will now have one of, and then select it from here. Okay? Then we get this preview, which kind of shows you all the stuff it can do. Now this widget will hold all kinds of great stuff. It'll hold all these images, other HTTP content, Flash, YouTube movies, MP3s, all that good stuff. So it's a really, this is a very robust Lightbox that we can customize to our liking and make it work for just about any application. It does require a little bit of patience though. Over here, if I look at the bottom of this, oh, I can also preview it here, but the preview doesn't work so well. If I click preview, oh, I'm in preview. If I click on this, this doesn't go so well. So sorry. You're gonna have to trust me. Details. Back to preview. Oh great. Now we can see nothing. Oh, here we go. Let's try that. There we go. Anyway, so down here at the bottom it says configure. I'm going to click on configure, and in this dialog box, what this is kind of a pre-flight thing that you can set up fairly simply by going through each one of these things and saying, do you want your slideshow to start automatically? I do not, so I'm going to leave that off. If you wanted to just have one of those slideshows that was maybe it's behind the masthead and changes images on you without any buttons or anything like that, you could set it up that way. You would just go through each one of these things and pick stuff. Now you can still affect this stuff in the code itself. It's just easier to do here. We are not going to get a great preview, obviously, of how it works, but all these things are totally customizable. The color of the borders and the drop shadows and the backgrounds and all that stuff, all totally customizable just by going through each one of these little dialog boxes. Now when you get it set up the way that you want to, you're going to come down here to the right and you're going to say Save Preset, and you're going to give it a name. Actually, I should have done that before. Why didn't you do that before? Okay, I'm back in here. Here's where you would name it. So I would say my Lightbox. Let's say 3. And then when I save that preset, if I need to come back to this and customize it or change things about it, I can just click into this one and configure it again. Okay? I haven't changed anything about it, although I should have. I didn't. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over here a little bit so we can see what's going on. There is the little hand. This is a drag and drop into Dreamweaver. I am just going to drag, click, drag, and drop it right where we decided it was going to go. And before too long, here it shows up. And the first thing I'm going to do is save. Command S or File Save, because it has added a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't have to write and we didn't have to deal with into our sites folder. So always say OK to that. And right now, if I go to live, I should be able to see how it works more or less. If I click on one of these images, I can see how that opens up. And this is not a great preview inside of Dreamweaver, but let's go out here real quick. There we go. That's a little bit better. So forward and backwards on this stuff. You can see how it adjusts to fit the size of the pictures if they're not all the same aspect ratio. So good stuff. It also has this little thumbnails scroll thing that you can turn on or off. It has a title and then a description. Even back here, oh, an auto play. I can even rotate the image, or the end user can rotate the image, because we always wanted to see waterfalls going sideways and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of stuff on here. I can close it with this box or just click in the background. When I roll over these, I also get a tooltip that pops up and gives me more information about those pictures. Okay, so how do we make this our own? Because obviously now it is somebody else's. Good question. I have no idea. I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. I'm basically going to go to my files. I'm going to open my images folder. Here it is right here. And I can see all of my Art A and Art A thumbnail. These are the things that we created in Photoshop earlier. And I'm just going to swap out these images across here as I go. All right, so I'll click on the first image, and down in my Properties panel, I have two important things. One is the source of the thumbnail image. That's the first one. And the second is the photograph that it links it to, or the whatever object that it links it to. So for my source for the thumbnail, I'm going to use the little target point to File, and I'm going to point to a thumbnail. Swaps it out for my thumbnail. The size has been determined by the size of the thumbnail. When I saved this in Photoshop, it was 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Saved it for web that way. All my thumbnails are the same size because I don't like it when they're like helter-skelter. The images I don't care about, but the thumbnail should be the same aspect ratio, I think. Okay, and then the link for this one is going to be Art. Oops. It's going to be Art A, just like this. Okay, and then I just continue on down the line here. Thumbnail B, Art B, and Art, where was I? Oh, F, thumbnail F, and also Art F. Okay, the rest of this stuff I don't need. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. If you can see, there's this very light gray type in here, and I'm going to select from the end of that. I'm holding down and clicking and dragging up so I can get rid of all this other content right here. Okay, and when I get to that point, I'm just going to hit delete. All right, so far so good. Let's save and take a look at this out in Chrome again, and we can see that we have our rollovers. And what I don't like about the rollovers is that they start light and then dim out when you roll over them. That seems backwards to me. I would rather have them dim when I start and then roll over them and have them brighten up, or maybe just the border, this white border changes to my my accent color or something. So we need to change that. I need a little bit more space. They also don't seem to be taking advantage of my windows so much. They're not smashing down because the size of the window that they're in is fixed. So we're going to change that so that it reflects the size of the window, this window that's moving, the section window. Okay, also one more thing, if we click on one of these, I see that my blue boat, this is not blue boat, so all these titles are the ones that came with the original. That says drop, this says blue boat, this says dancers. Not going to work out, so I need to address those things too. Alright, so back to Dreamweaver. First of all, let's go look at the code and see what's causing all that text to come up oddly. So here is one image. And if I take a good look at it here, I can see that it is an image that has a class of item, which is fine, so it can be styled. It's clear box gallery, da 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 da. Oh, here we go. Comment, dancers in red. Not going to work for me. First picture is mountain lake. Okay, I'm going to copy that because I'm going to use it again somewhere else. The image is correct. The title dancers is not right because the title of this image is called Fantastic. That's right, Fantastic. And then everything looks good. The source image for the thumbnail is good. Alt text, and this is where Mountain Lake gets placed again. Okay, so if I save again and then go back to design and live, when I roll over this, it's fantastic, and my text is fantastic and Mountain Lake. All of these things, the buttons, the play button, all of this stuff, the background color, even the corner radiuses, all these things can be changed. Either back before you drag the widget in, those could be changed there, or now that we have it in the program, we can go in and change those things too. All right, so for each one of my images, yeah, you guessed it, I have to go into code now and type the correct thing for each one of these div tags. Okay, I only have 6 of them, so it's not going to take me as long as it's going to take you, because you have at least 10. But do a good job. And if you don't want some of that text, say you have a title for your image, but you don't want to have a description, you can just leave that part out. Okay, or drop it out of here completely, and it just won't show up. Okay, here we go. So here's the new style. We have a style in there already. It created another style. It's still in this same Dream HTML document. In fact, I can take this one and add it to this one, and everything will be fine. But here's the things that it added. Let me move this over a little bit right here. You can see all of this code down here is what does the box itself, the images themselves, and there's a lot of little things that you can change about it here. If I want my container to be not this fixed height and width of 500 by 100, I can go ahead and change this to 100% right here, and then also my height I'm going to change to 100%. I can use the drop down menu for that. There we go. And now when I scale this, you can see that the box is scaling with my section window, which is what I wanted it to do. Okay, and now I get it. The next thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit more space between them. Okay, so right here where it says margin under image, I can come down here and change this to margin, and that should space out the images a little bit more, which I wanted to do. What else did I want to do? Oh, I wanted to change it so that when they rolled over, they were dim before they got rolled over. So back here, the image right here, the opacity says 1, and I'll change that to 0.7 to make it dimmer. And then this hover and active mode, I'm going to change the opacity from 0.8 to 1. So I kind of reversed what it was before. Let's take a look at that in live view. So they're kind of dim now, and now they're brightening up. The other things you could do is you could add a property to change the border color or anything else. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do here. Lastly, in the code, to cover all that stuff we had looked at before we dragged it in here, all those things are just above here. Now, here's all the settings that you can change, and here's an explanation of what those settings do change. Now, don't freak out here, but there's a lot of things that you can change. It's a little tougher to do it here, I think, than it is to do it back in the widget box. But everything is kind of listed out here. If you look at this, it'll kind of make sense if you read what's going on here. So this is another way that you can manipulate and change what's going on as far as the widget and the script is concerned. Okay, I'll see you next time.